Congratulations, you made it to my summary of simplifying rational expressions. Now, simplifying rational expressions is very, very important as we're going to move along in this chapter as far as applying operations as solving, multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. But I want to go through just a nice little summary video that's going to kind of encourage, what are some things that I want you to take out of this course, and especially as you work through those problems, what are some things you need to remember and also to avoid? So I came up with a quick little, kind of tips and tricks and some common mistakes. But again, let's just kind of go through the process of simplifying rational expressions. So when simplifying rational expressions, we want to be able to rewrite them in our simplest form. So to do that, we want to apply the division property. And what that pretty much means is I kind of go through that as far as my tips and tricks. And the other thing I'm going to use is factoring. Now, on factoring as well as using your rules of exponents. If you can use your rules of exponents and factoring, that's going to help you apply the division property, because sometimes I know some of the easier problems, you don't have to do any factoring. You just need to apply the rules of exponents and you'd be okay. But some of them, you look at them and you say, I can't use the division property, which comes into one of my common mistakes. So therefore, you have to apply factoring. So always make sure you look into your factoring, especially your special factoring products as far as trinomials, perfect square trinomials, difference of two squares, factoring out a GCF. Always look for different ways that you can simplify an expression, so therefore we can apply the division property. And again, the division property just states that is when we have a term that divided by that exact same term, that's going to divide in and be equal to 1. It doesn't matter if I'm dividing two numbers that are same, or two expressions, or two variables, again, that are going to be the same, or exactly in here, two expressions. X minus 3 is exactly the same as x minus 3. So therefore, that goes to 1, but I'm still left with x plus 4 over 4x, which I cannot simplify any further. Now let's kind of get into some common mistakes when applying the division property of equality. And besides common mistakes, a lot of common mistakes is students don't know their rules of exponents. Now, I didn't go in and I didn't provide an example of a rule of exponents mistake, but just make sure that you kind of know those as well. But I kind of went over one big mistake that I see is a lot of times with students just not knowing how to simplify fractions as well. Well, if you look at this, we say 15 divided by 3, we know that's 5. X divided by x, using our division property, is just going to give us equal to 5. But the problem is, I see a lot of students will say that will be the same thing if they have 3 over 15. But remember, when you have a fraction like that, we have to simplify. We have to reduce this fraction. So we say, what is the largest number that divides into 3 as well as to 15? You could say that's 3. 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 15. 5 times, so therefore we have 1/5. So there's a big difference between 1/5 and 5. So we got to make sure we understand what we're doing when we're simplifying numbers, in addition to applying our rules of exponents, the division property, and so on. The other big one that I looked into is I see a lot of students trying to use the division property across addition or subtraction, and that is a big no-no. You can only apply the addition property of equality across multiplication, okay? And so what I'll see a lot of students do is say, oh, this is an x, that's an x, those cancel out. Oh, that's a -1, that's a -1, that cancels out. And they say it's just going to be x squared minus 2. No, we can't do that. Again, we have to look into factoring. So if I was going to factor this, I'd say that's going to be x minus 1 times x minus 1 divided by x minus 1. Now, by applying my division property, I'm just left with an x minus 1. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's just kind of a quick little summary for you to take back for simplifying rational expressions. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.